I'm just kind of chasing the vibe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what my next emotion will be. I'm not like that. I'm not trying to plan them.
Okay.
I am trying to plan them. I'm really trying. I'm trying so hard every day, and I fuck it up every time.
Oh,
nice.
boy.
I mean, if you had like a certain amount of sad days that you had, like,
yes,
just
set away.
So you could just like you could be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to put this one on the 2nd of February because I don't really have
nothing
anything else
to
going
do.
on that day.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a great book that I want to finish.
Just pew pew, get it out of the way. Like, take a bath, read a book.
Bath. Well, that's going to put me in a bad mood, but yeah, sure.
Watch Chopped for 9 hours.
Hell yeah.
A classic of the
hours.
genre.
I wish just 9 hours. I'm lying to you.
That's me with Real Housewives.
Shark Tank right here.
This is a really diverse bunch of depressed people. We really have just a range of
I've never
coping
seen
mechanism?
Shark Tank. I just called it Sharked.
You've never seen
Chopped, but it's Sharked.
I love Chopped. Seen it. Do I love Chopped?
I love Chopped. I love it
I
in
don't
the
know.
way that you like. I don't love it. I need it.
Have you ever done like Chopped like at your house? Like someone's just like, here are some ingredients, make me happy.
That would be a fun game, actually.
That would be so fun. I'm like, you should try it.
Do, yeah.
She did it with Faygo and a brisket.
I don't think someone was like, here's a brisket, here's Faygo, here's Chipotle sauce.
To herself. She said, here's a Faygo, here's brisket.
We should have people
happy.
send us in like baskets, like ideas, and then like all try and like see
and then
what
we all
we can
have to
do.
make it like live. That sounds really fun.
That sounds fun.
I would be totally down.
I don't know about live. That's like a 5 hour. People do it in like 20 minutes, but I can't even cook anything in 20 minutes. I can't do a thing.
Would absolutely own me on that challenge, but I would be down to try.
I don't know. I just fucked up cookies a few days ago.
What's the fuck up?
and banana bread. Actually, I did both wrong.
Did you say banana bread?
Banana bread. Banana bread. Banana.
Bread for
I made banana bread. Oh my god, this is so stupid. I made banana bread with the wrong, like instead of soda, I used powder baking soda.
Baking powder.
And it just made it denser. It's fine. It wasn't that bad. But then the cookies, I was having the ingredients to make half the amount because I don't need 55 chocolate cookies.
I don't know why that's the basic recipe.
It's always like, here's for a family of 17. And I'm like, I would like not that. So I even halved an egg. I did all of it. And then I realized I had put in all of the flour. But I halved everything else.
No.
So then I had to go back and add all the other ingredients. But I don't know if you've heard about this. Baking is a science. Fake news.
Yeah, you need to add in things at certain times.
But there is an order to the operation. It's a little PEMDAS. I did PEMDAS the opposite way. Yeah.
Which would be Saddam.
What's shocking is that any cookie at all turned out on the other end. They're edible, but they're dense. You know.
Interesting. Well, if you ever have a recipe for cookies and it's too many cookies, you can always make all of them and then give half of them to me.
No. What's crazy is I was like, no, this will be enough for every friend I have. If I half the recipe, like what am I going to have? 3, plus all the dough. But after that, you're like
9.
Yeah. But even after that, that's not even a dent.
Yeah.
Anywhoosies.
I don't know
cookie
why the
recipes.
default Whole House cookie recipe is for like
1 million.
75.
I know.
Like, I'm not feeding everyone in my zip code. I'm feeding racks and racks alone. I want cookies.
That's why I like those websites where you can change the serving size and it will change the ingredient numbers. It's not always perfect, but it's pretty good. Like, I want half of this. Although this recipe called for 1 egg, that was difficult to have.
You don't have to have an egg for those recipes. You can just use 1 egg. It's just to make a little richer.
Yeah.
Anyways, I did everything wrong.
I don't like it when they have a recipe online and they tell you the instructions and all the ways to put things together, and then they tell you the amounts at the bottom of the page. Why do they do that?
Yeah,
that is the classic way too. Why do you
put in the flour and then the sugar and then the thing, and I have to scroll all the way to the bottom to be like, oh, it's a cup of flour, it's a teaspoon of sugar. Like, why?
And I've got to scroll with my filthy food prep hands.
I want them side by side.
Side
instructions, ingredients.
Or put it in there. Put it be like, put in half a cup of flour. Put in a tablespoon of sugar.
That's so smart. We've just revolutionized the internet. Let's get this out there. Hello, we need a manager. We have fucking stuff to announce. That is genius.
Magazine, looking at you.
Do you know how disgusting it is when I'm like covered in glue, like a chicken
Like a
glue,
craft child?
and I have to freaking touch my computer, which is already disgusting, just to see how many chickens or how many goops I'm supposed to have in there. It's disgusting.
What are you cooking?
Disgusting.
That's an apt description of it. Chicken goop a la mode.
Chicken goop. She's making homemade chicken nuggets.
I will not respond to this.
Oh, get out the silhouette.
Thank you.
Great. Well, everyone.
Are we still recording our faces? Because I just did a very sexy dance.
We are. Yeah. I don't know which one
needs
is
to see this.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's very good. Oh, okay. I wish we could
really,
like.
It's
I wish we could connect our like arms together.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Wait, we maybe can. Amber, do yours.
Okay. Wait. Okay.
Wait, what the fuck are we doing?
Well, we were doing the wave, but somebody didn't do, or not the wave.
Oh, I thought we were just touching each other. So I was
like a chicken.
I don't know what you're doing, but
is this not how you hold hands?
That's so romantic. Courtney's just supposed to hold our hands.
let's introduce the pod.
Okay, I guess.
Welcome to Low Culture Boil, the trash podcast about trash culture, hosted by three trashy babes. I am your host, Rax King.
And I am your other host, Courtney K. Rawlings, aka Aldi Board.
And I am your third host, Amber Rollo. And today we are talking about hot collector's item, Beanie Babies.
Ooh, mama sign.
I still have one.
Oh,
and
you
he's
still have
precious
one?
To me. I don't have him in the sense that a collector has him. I have him in the sense that he's a cute little bear, and I love him.
What
You
is
have
it?
him as a Beanie Baby rather
one
than
is he?
as a...
Cinders the bear.
Cinders the bear. And what color is Cinders the bear?
He is, I believe he is a black bear.
Okay, cool.
classic of the genre.
Very classic bear.
Classic.
Very cool.
Compact, can climb a tree. Climbs a tree like a son of a bitch. Love that guy.
I remember my first ever Beanie Baby came to me in the second grade. I was getting picked up from school because I was faking being sick, and my mom knew it. But she brought me chili cheese fries and a Beanie Baby, which was a Red
name
Bull.
Of a Beanie Baby.
No.
Chili cheese
Tabasco.
Tabasco was
I think it was a big one.
It's in the second batch of Beanie Babies ever released. I also have had Tabasco. It wasn't the
And
first.
I did always keep their cards on, but
Me too.
not because of collecting.
No, they would get like really wrinkled and folded up, and I didn't care. I liked to look at the little poem.
The names,
I had friends who had the like little like tag protectors that you could buy to like snap
was like,
onto it. And I was
whoa,
like,
guys.
that's
First of all, what is your parents' income?
Seriously.
I need to know.
a lot.
I don't even have any
come over for
memory
dinner?
of how I stole, like somehow got the money for my Pokemon card holder. Like for the
wow.
I had
You
the
collected
holders.
Pokemon.
Binder, yeah.
Well, I have 4 brothers really. So yeah, I had a very boy childhood.
Yeah.
I know
I
it's
was
hard
gonna
to
ask
see.
if you guys collected anything. I mean, Beanie Babies. I didn't really collect Beanie Babies. I didn't collect Pokemon cards. I didn't collect Pogs or anything like that. I wasn't a collector.
I think
of
I
things.
would have had. I didn't have a disposable income.
For sure.
Okay,
I had
you
a
know what I
lot of
did have?
Barbies.
Oh, I loved Barbies. Actually, my sister
too.
got me a Barbie. It was the wedding Barbie for my kindergarten graduation. My older sister got it for
that's
me.
such a cute memory.
And like she like saved up her money and got it herself for me.
That's
and
so sweet. I would
it was very
never do
sweet.
that for a sibling.
And then I took the Barbie and I put dark purple marker on its lips and I cut off all of its hair. I made it punk rock and she was furious.
Oh, well, I mean, that was her hard-earned cash.
It was her hard-earned cash.
She doesn't really understand the gift part of gifting yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once you give someone something, it is out of your hands what happens to it.
didn't
You
know.
never get to ask about it again.
Except for, it's like she gave you a gift, like how boyfriend and girlfriends get each other gifts.
Yeah.
Like, this is a little bit
This
for
is for
me.
us.
Anytime I get Sean a gift, it's because it's for me. It's not even a little bit for me. It's just for me. And
here's a new pillow set.
Yeah, that's what I just got us new pillows. I got us water pillows. Excuse me. I'm getting so excited about the water pillows. Yeah.
I didn't know that was
water. It's so cool. Yeah, it's like a waterbed pillow.
Oh my god.
You are living in a different universe.
This is amazing.
So
I want a waterbed pillow so bad.
It's my first ever like medical grade piece of bedwear, and it's I'm about to replace everything I own with orthopedic shit. This is the life. I'm about to get me like a 10-pack of Dr. Scholl's. I'm living it. I'm living it.
I really was just thinking about getting a silk pillowcase because I want to like train my hair and not have it break off at ends, and so I was thinking about that. But I feel like a water pillow with a silk pillowcase, like my hair.
Now we're cooking with Crisco.
Yeah, that's
my hair would be mermaid immediately. I also collected.
Also, your neck will never have a problem again.
Never. Oh my god! So right happy. Now, I can't turn it in a certain way. Because
if you had a water pillow, you could turn it.
I'm so excited.
Check this out.
Whoa.
Let's all check our dexterity.
You're a freaking owl over here.
Basically, yeah. Sorry, Beanie Babies.
No, I collected nutcrackers. That is the one thing that I collected.
That's cool. Yeah, I wanted to be a collector, but I had no discipline or money.
Yeah, no. I got a nutcracker every year for Christmas. That's how that worked.
Yeah,
I tried to like repeatedly start rock collections. I was constantly like picking up a cool rock, and I'd be like, "Well, I got to get like 30 more just like it," and I got a real collection. Hey,
hell yeah, that's a rock.
That's a rock I found.
Finding shit like that. Why don't I find cool rocks anymore?
I also found this very cool shell.
I mean, I think we're not close to the ground because I did pick up rocks a lot.
When you're a child, it's because you were short.
When you're a child.
I'm short.
When you're a child, you're
on the
It might also have to do with the fact that we all live in the biggest cities in the country.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
No.
It's not because we were short once.
When I was a kid, we would go to Yosemite every year and to go camping. And
heard of it.
Like local stores in Yosemite Village, they always had geodes that they would sell for like 25 cents. That's a good collector's
25
item.
cents.
Yeah.
That's an amazing
There's
deal.
big piles of them. You could just go and you get some, and then you like take it and you put it in a sock and you bash it on the driveway, and then you have a
I don't think I've ever had a geode. Now that you're describing the geode activity, I've definitely never had it.
I would like try and bust open rocks, see who was up in there.
Who was
I would
sparkly?
Find some cool shit. It was always super fun.
Let's change the name of this podcast. Geology.
Okay.
Welcome to the Geology Pod.
Actually, my 5th year of college, because I was super
Same.
dedicated.
Everyone, if you went to public college and you got it through there in 4 years, stop bragging, okay?
Yeah, eat my ass.
My fifth year in college, I lived with all geologists. They were all in their master's program for geology. Berkeley had like a special like year extension to get your master's in
She just wanted to tell us
geology.
that she got into Berkeley.
And accidentally, I got into Berkeley because of my essay, not because of anything else. Which sounds like a brag when I say it. Okay.
It's not a big deal. It was just that bullshit 1,000-word thing. That
you know the thing that like gets you or doesn't get you into fucking college.
Yeah.
So
mine got me. So what?
we called our house the Rock House
Nice.
because we were geologists.
Cool
That's
it there.
really dorky in like an endearing way, but it's like really dorky.
But we had a ton of rocks all over the house. It was very cool, honestly. And we were all snowboarders.
That's a cool way to live.
It was a cool way to live.
I always did want to
rocks are better
go.
than plants because I got this bitch ass plant who is. I'm looking at it right now, and it is dead as a fucking doornail. And I just can't help but think, if that was a rock, it would still be alive.
Yeah, and this is why people are so into collecting crystals and stuff, because they like forever look beautiful and they have meaning behind them. Very similar to the way Beanie Babies do. Like you collect specific ones for specific meanings. Anyway.
What is a Beanie Baby? May I answer my own question?
I was about to say it, but you can answer it.
No one cared about that one because I have it written down. I
had it written down too.
I didn't have it written down.
Dude, what the fuck is up with Amber right now? Am I right? She's trying to fucking
I've been writing stuff down, but then
stealing
you've also
my
been writing stuff down, and I think it's going to tear this podcast apart. What'd you write down?
Okay. Thank you.
It's a line of stuffed toys.
Shut up.
It was created in 1993. I'm sorry.
Everyone knows that, Amber.
American businessman H. Ty Warner.
They are small, stuffed, soft toys filled with quote unquote beans or plastic pellets that come in different forms, mostly animals. They also come with heart-shaped tags that named the Beanie Baby and gave you some information about it, including its birthday. For instance, a duck named Quackers tag read date of birth 4/1994 with the note, "There's a duck by the name of Quackers. Every night he eats animal crackers. He swims in a lake that's clear and blue, but he'll come to the shore to be with you." And that's
Quackers.
what a
Who's
Beanie
cool?
Baby is, asshole.
Okay. And the reason why them being filled with these like plastic pellets is so cool and interesting and different than other stuffed animals is because it makes them malleable and posable, which was like a big selling point at the time in 1993 when they were created. They were like the first major collectible. They have been cited as being the world's first internet sensation. So they came out like at the same time, they were hitting their high at the same time as AOL came out.
And eBay.
And eBay.
Yeah.
I think that's a real self-selecting demographic because we watched Beanie Mania, the HBO Max documentary, and I noticed that all the collector types were bitches and bitches of a certain vintage. They all seem to have once had like high-power corporate jobs, or like one lady worked for the FBI, and then they became stay-at-home moms, went insane, and got on AOL about it to like totally drive up this Beanie Baby bubble and spread their insanity to people like me who just wanted a cute little toy.
So they were moms. They like originally the original collectors. I like to call them the Real Housewives of Beanie Babies. They lived in this cul-de-sac just outside of Chicago, and it was called Naperville. That's like where like the Beanie Baby moms lived, and there was three of them to begin with. There was Mary Beth Sobolewski, there was Becky Phillips, and there was Joni Hirsch Blackman. And they were all professional women turned house moms in the 90s. And like you said, they were stuck in this time period in a cul-de-sac after having high-powered jobs where they were bored, but with a bunch of money. And what do you do when you're bored and you have a bunch of money? You start collecting random shit. So they looked at what their kids were collecting, and their kids were collecting these Beanie Babies, and they sort of
ruined it.
They ruined it for them.
Ruined it for the kids. It was incredible how fast they ruined it. I've never, I lived through, as we all did, the Beanie Baby bubble. I've never seen something so cute ruined so fast and so completely.
Imagine being the therapist when like Mary Beth's daughter comes in and is like, yeah, so you think you have mommy problems? My mom started the fucking Beanie Baby craze.
My mom took Beanie Babies away from me, and now they cost $1,000 a piece.
I wasn't allowed to touch my toys.
Okay, so let's talk about Ty Warner, the guy who started this Beanie Baby thing. On the little red heart tag, it says Ty. Well, that is an actual man. It's Ty Warner.
I never knew that. I always thought it was
Me neither. I did too.
It stood for something.
Yeah, I was
that's
like,
what I cared.
toy unit with a
so
Y.
as well, until
Toy
watching.
unit with a Y.
It's unit YOUNIT. It's
That's not how unit is spelled.
Things just fly through this. Okay.
Sorry. Courtney can spell, I'm sure.
so Courtney's getting her doctorate.
Courtney's so much smarter than the rest of us.
That's
and
right.
Just thought the word
Remind
unit was spelled
yourselves
with a
that,
Y.
okay? Sometimes unit is a Y.
You're smarter than me, but I won the 6th grade spelling bee.
That's what it means when they say, and sometimes Y.
Yeah. Sometimes other letters are Y. The world's a crazy place.
Wow, guys. We should go into comedy.
So Ty Warner his dad was a salesman at this toy company called Dankin Toys. And then Ty followed suit. He became the biggest salesman after his dad retired of Dankin Toys. And after doing so well there, he decided to leave and start his own company. And that's where he came up with Beanie Babies. He started Ty Inc. And the CEO, I think it's really funny, the CEO of Dankin Toys was interviewed in this documentary, Beanie Mania, and Harold Nizamian claims to have inspired Ty. He says he told him, this is the best advice he ever gave him. He said, quote, "Come up with a good name and make a quality product and market the hell out of it."
That's just like... That's just like in Lee Iacocca's autobiography, like 30 times. That's every piece of business advice.
It's like you just work really hard and it becomes successful.
Yeah. Secret to business is have a good business. Like, fuck you.
One of his former coworkers at Dakin referred to him as a smart-assed shithead. And, quote, "I would guess you're going to be hard-pressed to find anybody who liked him." According to women who knew him like growing up in the small town he was from not really a small town, a suburb of Chicago, where he grew up in a Frank Lloyd Wright house, just so everyone knows, called
Frank Lloyd Wrong.
Peter Gone House, which is, but like this becomes interesting because he later claims that he was like a rag to riches story, but he was like he was like very fine, went to military school in his early teens because his mom was later diagnosed with schizophrenia. He did drop out of college, but that was because he kind of got into the toy game, if you know what I mean. But women refer to him as so egotistical that it was difficult to be around him, even though he was very handsome. I found pictures of. So that's just a little fun fact.
I do not think he was handsome. Okay,
the young pictures of him I'll show.
Absolutely would not say that he is handsome. He looked like Willy Wonka.
No, later on,
like a less handsome Willy Wonka. Gene Wilder was
Gene Wilder
guy.
was handsome, but he would like. After he made Beanie Babies and he was trying to get them into local retailers, he would drive around in a weird car. I don't know what type of car it was, but he would drive around with a full length fur coat and a top hat to go to toy stores or like Hallmark stores and try to get them to sell Beanie Babies.
Allegedly, he had told people that he sought out to create this kind of almost like the who were we just talking about? Golden Ticket?
Willy
Wonka type persona, like very private, but like a kind of like one of those guys that you don't forget, right? You don't forget the guy that comes into the toy store to sell you a little cat full of beans, you know?
Yeah. And he's dressed like a pimp for some reason.
He's like a literal crazy person. Yeah. This just one other little... Did you know factoid, as they call them? So just to show that he was an asshole, just so everyone knows, because I was shocked by this. So after he was fired from Dinkin in the late 1970s, he was fired mostly because he was trying to sell his own shit alongside the toys at the Dinkin, which was the largest toy company at the time. He then spent 5 years in Sorrento, Italy, or 3 or 5 years, I don't remember, in Sorrento, Italy with friends, where he found the cats that he would later sell. These kinds of giant cat toys that were similarly malleable, and that's where he got the inspiration for Beanie Babies, was from these like I can't believe he ever tried to tell everyone he was rag to riches when he like spent 5 years in Sorrento with his friends. He also waited 5 years to tell his sister after his dad. I mean, he waited 5 days after his dad died to tell his sister because he wanted to. This is after he's a millionaire, by the way. Clear out his dad's antique collection for himself.
What?
What a fuck. Jesus
wow,
God.
What a dick.
That is detestable.
That is really, really bad.
Then he also took a friend, no longer a friend, like one of his friends, interviewed for this big book. I'll have to find the book name. It was like the only book written about him. And about the Beanie Baby craze in general. I read portions of it. He also took a friend's young daughter out for ice cream and made her pay for it.
Oh,
I thought that story was going in a very different direction.
Yeah, I got a little bit worried.
Just like to give you a sense of who this guy who invented what is still considered the most popular toy in American history.
Yeah, but if he was on his own, he wouldn't have been successful. But he lucked into this success story, is what I would say. There was a worker that he had working for him. She was a telemarketer. Her name was Lena Trevetti. And she was there at the very beginning. She was the 12th employee of Tie Inc. It was before real, Beanie Babies had actually even been invented. And she was there just as a telemarketer, getting paid $12 an hour. And after Beanie Babies, after he did come up with this idea of Beanie Babies, the first one was the frog. I guess the name
Legs,
of
Legs, I believe.
Yeah, Legs. Yeah,
that's cute
exactly
name.
Right. She was trying to figure out. She was just thinking to herself ideas of how to make Beanie Babies stand out in stores, how to get them to sell better. They were having trouble getting them placed in retailers, and she came up with the idea of the poems. She was like,
"Oh, that's so cute!
You had something that connected you to this little toy. What if you had something that built a relationship between you and them? What if they had little poems that described them?" And she went into Ty's office because he happened to be there, and she said this to him, and he was like, "Great. Can you write them?" So this was a little bit after a lot of the Beanie Babies had been made, but they were not selling.
I believe she
87,
said.
yeah.
So she had 87 poems to write.
Oh my goodness.
He was like, "Can you write the poems
she did great.
And fax them to me in 18 hours?" So she had 87 poems to write in 18 hours, and she did it.
Wow.
No problem.
Give this bitch a poet laureate.
Honestly, yeah. She also, we can talk about later how she came... She was an invaluable employee, and he really kind of treated her like shit, which is another
We are Ty Warner.
Yeah, our Ty
Did
Warner.
What?
Saying he's an asshole?
You saying this guy with a Swiss bank account is a butthole?
Good person has a Swiss bank account.
No, with
even a Swiss person.
$100 million in it. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but just fun fact, that's another alarming part of his personality.
Yeah.
So they started selling pretty well in a lot of the stores after these poems were put on them, and but they weren't selling like hotcakes. But they did have these women out there who were super interested in collecting them, who did want to collect them all, didn't have any information on how many there were or anything. So they started making lists for themselves. These women were bored. Are
you talking about the Chicago ladies?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Chicago ladies.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Real Housewives of Beanie Babies.
Got it.
So they are in a cul-de-sac that's very insular, very competitive, and they start all collecting
Excel
these Beanie
spreadsheets
Babies.
of the 1990s of what beanies are available.
They had 4-inch thick binders listing all of the Beanie Babies and the attributes about them and where they were and where they weren't, and it was a real mission. Their kids,
just 20 years earlier, they would be walking through fields collecting flowers, having a much better time collecting something. Instead, they're stuck with baby toys.
Fucking Betty Friedan, right? She's the one who said no woman ever got an orgasm from waxing the kitchen floor. This is the shit that happens when you take a lady and you stick her in a house. She goes crazy. She becomes a crazy person. She starts looking for feelings anywhere she can find them.
That's exactly right. And then even women who didn't have children started getting involved in Beanie Babies. There was Peggy Gallagher. She was a collector of Beanie Babies, and she didn't have children. She had stepchildren, but even her stepchildren were not Beanie Baby collectors, just her. And that is interesting to me. I don't know. It's like she talks about the way that they were also like, it's definitely a very specific class of women. It's upper middle class women who are interested in collecting Beanie Babies.
Well, it becomes like basically a hobby. So I've never had a hobby because I don't care about hobbies. And also I technically have so much time, but I don't have money, right? So if I had money, I'd have real leisure time. Okay. Instead I have anxiety time. And it sounds like this is like a leisure activity that still makes you feel like a mom and a woman and like part of your kid's life, but it's really like an adult obsession, right? Like my dad used to play Neopets obsessively and made me a Neopet millionaire. Okay. Throwback to an earlier pod. So it kind of seems like that's where they're getting this, the impetus behind this obsession comes from.
Yeah. And this secondary market pops up because for two reasons. Well, one, it's because Ty refused to sell Beanie Babies to any big stores. He didn't want to sell them to Kmart. He didn't want to sell them to Toys R Us. And the reason he did that is because they would lower the market value, because big stores, if things don't sell, they put them on sale. The price goes down. It just lowers the value of the Beanie Babies themselves. He knew that the little retailers just couldn't afford to do that, so they wouldn't do that. So he sold them only in little stores, little like you saw them
mom
in
and
the
pop
hospital
gift stores
shop.
and stuff.
You saw them at the Hallmark store. You saw them at the mom and pop store on the corner. And then the other reason why this secondary market popped up is because the internet happened. There was already like people like listing Beanie Babies in like newspaper columns and stuff, but there wasn't a huge secondary market until AOL started. People started talking about their collections in the AIM chat. Then they also started listing them on eBay to collect them. And the thing that like really took them over the edge for the secondary market, which is huge, is they made a website. And guess whose idea it was to make a website? Lena Trevetti. She came up with the idea. She brought it to Ty. She was like, hey, there's this thing that's happening, the internet. What if we had a website where we had like a catalog and we listed all the Beanie Babies that we had? And he was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that. And people were like, whoa, a toy company has a website, which is funny to me because now like, of course.
If you don't have a website, it's ridiculous. Yeah. All information is available on the internet now.
Yeah. I mean,
well,
if
they would also
available on the internet, it's not information.
So I think one of the reasons that this was so important is because this is by this time, it's like the mid 90s, early to mid 90s. The Beanie Baby boom is really in full swing. And this happens from all the reasons that Amber listed, but also because randomly, Ty Warner would just walk into the factory and be like, we're no longer making this Beanie Baby.
Oh, that actually happened for a very specific way.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, he didn't walk in randomly to say that things weren't being produced anymore.
Although that does sound like him, right? Just a Willy Wonka.
At least, that's what the book said.
We're not doing this anymore.
I mean, it originally... Do you want to tell why it happened, or do you know?
Well, I mean, I think I have different info. So like originally it happened by accident. So before Beanie Babies, he had this lamb named Lovey that he was selling. And the second it was discontinued because of hashtag supply chain issues, it gained a lot of attention from fans who were like, we bring back Lovey. And he was like, oh, okay, wait a second. I see that retiring stuff makes this kind of fake scarcity market that's going to racket up the prices even more. And so this quickly became part of their business plan, which was it's apparently at one point there was $100 million worth of excess Beanie Babies left in a factory, later destroyed because he did have these kind of like random, no one would know except for him and maybe the lady who was running the website, that a Beanie Baby was going to be retired.
Yeah.
And part of what they used the website for was that they would give like their dedicated fans little hints, like maybe that something might be retired. So if there was forethought, they people who are following this site would be able to, kind of predict this. And furthermore, so that made like a scarcity market, right? You never know what's going to happen at any point. Quackers could just disappear. So you have to get them all while you can. But another reason that selling at these small mom and pop stores was so important to the business model was because he would sell different kinds of Beanie Babies across the country. Like not every Beanie Baby was available everywhere, making like eBay a quintessential part of the Beanie Baby universe, right? eBay actually originally AuctionWeb was started in 1995, right at the height of this Beanie Baby craze, and it was invented solely for the purpose by Pierre Omidyar to help his fiance trade Pez dispensers. So you could see how it really lent itself to this Beanie Baby obsession soon after.
Yeah. So around 1996 was when Ty started to retire Beanie Babies. And there is debate over whether or not this was on purpose or because of supply chain issues, because, they were running out of fabric or whatnot. But the real craze around Beanie Babies being retired started about 2 weeks before January of 1997, when Ty shut down their website and instead put up a countdown clock that had like a 2-week countdown. And I was like, are you ready? And it didn't say anything about what it was. But then January 1st...
I would be afraid that they were going to kill us all.
I know. What the fuck?
Ready to die, Ty? Not
I don't
really.
know. No.
Can you make countdown clocks really cute?
Yeah, he did. And he on January 1st, 1997, he announced the Beanie Babies that were going to retire that year.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was like a big thing. And then everyone rushed to the stores and started buying all of these Beanie Babies. And it worked really well. And because of that, again, increased demand, the secondary market got even bigger, and it started to attract people that weren't just collectors, but people who were thinking about these as investments. Like already
speculators.
Speculators. But already there were people who were doing that, but they were collecting these Beanie Babies already. And then they happened to be like, oh yeah, maybe this will be worth something later on. These people got into Beanie Baby collecting as their entire business. They were not looking at it because they loved Patty the Platypus. They didn't care about the sheep or the frog or anything. They cared about the money.
There was a real belief that these would accrue value over time because of the rarity. And it was really just like this kind of psychosis that took over the country, right?
Much like NFTs.
Exactly. NFTs,
Exactly
all that kind of stuff.
We have learned nothing.
So
they learned nothing from Beanie Babies.
What are you talking about? I think my digital images are going to be worth a lot one day.
Yeah, they're riding this internet wave the same way that NFTs are riding the cryptocurrency wave.
Right.
So it is it's going to burst. The bubble always bursts. But yeah, there was this woman named Phyllis Michelli, and her AIM handle was Queenie Beanie.
That's so funny that's relevant information.
I know, right? Her AIM handle. So she made a business out of this. She was like, I don't care about collecting Beanie Babies. I care about collecting money. And she would buy and sell Beanie Babies for people. And she gave this example in the documentary that I just thought was amazing. This man emailed her and asked her if she could take a large account. And she was like, yeah, send me the money. And he sent her $20,000 to buy
my God
Beanie Babies. And she was like, okay, I will. So she bought him a bunch of Beanie Babies for $20,000. And then she didn't feel safe mailing these Beanie Babies because she was afraid they would get stolen. So she flew them to Hawaii, where he was, to give them to him personally. And I'm like, is this laundering of some sort? Is there cocaine in those Beanie Babies? What is happening?
Wait, I have to go let Danny locked himself out of the house. I'll be right back. I was wondering who was ringing the doorbell. Okay.
Christ alive. Yeah, I mean, really, it does seem like money laundering. And The only difference between Beanie Babies and NFTs in terms of the potential for laundering is when you buy Beanie Babies, you do get Beanie Babies. You get a little thing and it sits in your house. And, you know, if you're inclined the way I am, I really like stuffed animals and I love to see my little stuffed bear sitting in his spot. That makes me happy. Yeah. Maybe it makes you happy. Yeah. I'm slobbering on myself because I'm getting too excited about Beanie Babies. No, with NFTs, you don't get shit. You get a picture of a cartoon ape that someone steals from you.
Yeah. I mean, Mary Beth, one of the first women to start collecting Beanie Babies, the one who ruined collecting Beanie Babies for her daughter, of note, she made a whole magazine about Beanie Babies. She talks about their eyes and how, like, they make you feel like they're a little person. They're anthropomorphizing this product, which is one of the best and easiest ways to sell something to people. It's the whole reason why we have 2 headlights on cars rather than 3, you know, because like 2 headlights makes it look like a little, like a person looking at you, and that feels nice to us. So yeah, it's it makes a lot more sense. About? The anthropomorphication of commodities.
Oh, wow. Okay. Catch me up.
Beanie Baby looks like a little guy.
Because a Beanie Baby looks like a guy.
Yeah, that was like a huge selling point. That's like the bean part, right? It's like they're malleable and like can have little...
and they got those little black eyes that like just look like so like wide puppy dog eyes.
Yeah, I heard like...
Looks like the puppy emoji.
They were especially adorable. And they were also like, because of their malleability and like... well, sorry, just almost called Terrible Tyler or whatever his name is, T.Y. Danny. Terrible T.Y. also loved like kind of like going into the stores where these Beanie Babies were being sold and kind of dictating to them how they could sell them. Like they couldn't sell them in bins. They had to sell them like sitting on shelves in like cool little poses. So you'd like
get your insane thing to tell store employees.
That's ridiculous.
Categorically, the people who give the least amount of a shit about
Calm down.
anything. If some guy wearing a fur coat and a top hat came into my place of business and started telling me how to behave, I'd like, no, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to run you out of town.
Posing the babies in lewd positions. That's what I would do.
Make a little hand, give him the bird or something. Something like that.
Wow, imagine if they had fingers.
Oh my God, imagine if they had fingers.
That's too human. That's some uncanny valley shit.
I do not like it. No.
So there is a point
of anthropomorphication that's like bad.
I was looking at the book that I kind of skimmed through little bits of it called. It's called by Zach Bissonette, author of The Great Beanie Baby Bubble, Mass Delusion, and the Dark Side of Cute. Very dramatic title.
That is nothing that bad happened, dude.
I did see that. I did see that one, and I was like, whoa,
it's cited like everywhere, and I was like, okay, I'll just like see if it's on my university site. And well, he gives, just to give you a sense of scale, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating anything, but he kind of explains like, okay, so in 1986, they're selling for $5 a pop, which is exceedingly cheap for a stuffed animal in general. But like, I don't know if you guys ever went to like, we had a Disney store at the mall and those, I remember even in the 90s, were going for like $45 a pop. I was like, what? That's like an investment piece. Yeah. These are going for $5. So they are like generally affordable. But by 1996, the very these $5 Beanie Babies had led to TY sales multiplying by 10 times, reaching a $280 million gross income that year. And to give you...
Did they make stuff other than Beanie Babies? I can't recall ever seeing another toy of
the
theirs.
Beanie Baby. At the height of the Beanie Baby...
They did make other things, but they stopped.
Right, but
once Beanie Babies hit, they were like, no, nothing
I mean,
else.
he was just experimenting with the plush toy in general. Like, so like he was like, what's going to be the best plush toy? And he just... hard work.
And he found it.
At the height of the Beanie Baby craze, according to this book I just cited, TUI was shipping more than 15,000 orders a day to retailers, but the company limited each retailer to just 36 toys of each style or animal. That's actually why they were able to work as collectibles. People just had no idea how much they were shipping and where. And by 1997... Beanie Babies dominated eBay and comprised 6.6 of its total volume of sales online. And then I'm not sure if you guys got to 1997, where finally TY is like, look, let's have a little fun here. Let's sell these bad boys and put these in McDonald's.
Yes.
And this fucking
I remember the McDonald's Beanie Babies.
Before you go on to the McDonald's teeny beanies, because that's very exciting.
Yes, right, the teeny beanies.
This technique of like making only a certain amount of them available at certain different retailers is like, it reminds me of LuLaRoe.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
I mean,
right? Like you have to
classic business
trade
model, yeah.
and like talk to the people of the community in order to get all the different patterns that you want.
it's so funny because he clearly is banking on this kind of mass delusion that took over America. He's like, oh, you idiots, and like kind of works from there. Like this had never happened. And the fact that he was able to manipulate the market is like crazy. But he was the like sole proprietor of TY. So like it was him and employees. He never took out any debt even. He was really adamant that he would never take out any debt. So he only made cash, making him a billionaire by the end of, while everyone else is losing their home collecting Beanie Babies, which by the way, in case you're ever tempted to spend your retirement on anything, don't do it.
Buy the home.
Yeah.
You want to
buy
be
a
on that side
home.
of the exchange. You want to be on that side.
Make sure you can live for 10 years or whatever. I will never have that. But if you are one of these people with savings, that's just a little tip from Courtney, the cash lady.
Do not buy Beanie Babies.
Don't do Beanie Babies. So in 1997, they introduce the
Teeny
Beanie Babies to McDonald's. And this fucking blows the America's load. They're like, we can't handle this. Originally, it was going to be 100 million.
Talk about blowing America's load.
Teeny
Beanie Babies.
I don't want to be this person.
Don't bukkake
I'm just a poet. Okay, there's a reason I'm here. I'm the poet of the
Did you
group.
guys get one? I
Yes.
got one.
I definitely remember.
I did not get a teeny beanie baby. Which
I
I got it by accident. I didn't know that it was like a craze. I just went to McDonald's while they were out. I got lucky.
I also had like maybe a few even because we never really went to McDonald's, but I did love a good Happy Meal, and the whole reason was for the toy.
obviously.
Apparently, they were supposed to sell we were so lucky, Rex, because apparently they were supposed to sell 100 million in 5 weeks. They sold it in 2 weeks. And that's because, according to this writer, Bisnetta, McDonald's became inundated with calls. They would get 15 to 20 calls an hour,
Jesus.
Inquiring about availability. And so people would answer the phone at McDonald's and say like, good morning, it's McDonald's. We have the moose and the lamb.
Just let's get it out of the way first thing first.
Oh God!
There
Who
was
is calling a McDonald's. I have never called a McDonald's
I wouldn't.
in my life.
Also,
I
this
didn't
is
know
the
they had
90s. You
phones.
couldn't even Google it on your phone. Like
Right.
you had to like go in
White
the
Pages.
you had your big book and you go
Yeah.
McDonald's on this street. One person, or apparently this happened occasionally, but one of the biggest cases was one person was like, I will called to order 100 Happy Meals and then told them to keep the food.
Oh my God.
So
Okay,
that's
well,
just
I mean,
to give
that's
you a
good. At least they're
little.
not throwing it away, but still, like, come on. So yeah, they were absurdly successful, as Courtney said. I mean, Ty made tons of money off of this. He didn't even give like the funding money to start Beanie Babies that he like got from a distributor who paid $500,000 to get like Legs started. Legs was the Legs.
I know that's just an adorable name.
Yeah. But yeah, he did really well for himself. And the first year that Beanie Babies was successful, he gave all the workers their annual salary as a bonus. So he just doubled their salary as a bonus. The following year, he gave them all a billionaire bear, which is, a little Beanie Baby that cost them 35 cents to make. And
Wait, do you know the years for this?
Yeah, I think that was 96 and 97.
Because by 98, Beanie Babies the company had reached $1.4 billion in sales. So you could see how we went from just 2 years earlier.
97, 98. So he gave the billionaire bear the year they hit billion.
I see. Okay. So it was probably, 97, 98. Because that's just disgusting. Imagine like Ty alone becomes a billionaire from this, right? And he's like, okay, I should double someone's salary. I mean, this is insane. This is literally psychotic that we have this.
I should split the profits.
I should
with the
have
people who
any
did all the
profit.
work.
He literally took the most of the profit. No one even got like shares in the company and stuff like that, from what I can tell. Like he was like, this is mine. And so giving someone double their salary makes sense if you're not going to give them part ownership or anything like that.
He was very like selfish. He was very litigious. There was a bunch of different businesses popping up because, there was like a whole economy just created around this thing. There were a bunch of people making counterfeit Beanie Babies, and so there was
that's hilarious.
One of the like original women, one of the Real Housewives of the Beanie Babies,
Mary Beth, let's call her.
Well, Mary Beth, that she started a magazine, but another one of them made a business all about, determining if your Beanie Baby was real or not, an authentication
Wow.
business.
I'm like, imagine getting that pamphlet in the mail.
Yeah, is your Beanie Baby a fake? I'd be like, I don't care.
Who cares? It's a toy for a child.
Yeah,
it's a toy.
Very small and he's very small. That is all I need to know about, officer.
Mary Beth, she did start a magazine. It was out for like a year, and then she got sued by Ty for using copyright infringement because she used the word beanie in the name of the magazine. That's
so psychotic.
There was like a bunch of different businesses that popped up, and he was not okay with it, which is really funny because without these women, without these like little businesses popping up, without these people who were so obsessed that they like started businesses, these women were stay-at-home moms. They did not need to start a secondary business. Without them, nobody would know what Beanie Babies were. Like, they are the reason he is successful.
Yeah, but you see, the more money people make, they typically become more and more litigious and more obsessed with money. You could see, like, the second he becomes a billionaire, he's like, actually, I'm going to stop giving bonuses. Here's a bear you literally just made.
And that bear was like valued at like a resale value of $6,000. But he numbered all of the tags so that he would know which employees had sold their bear. And like he looked down on it if they sold their bear. And he had people whose jobs it was to watch eBay and make sure they didn't like sell their bear. Very fucked up.
That's crazy guy behavior. What business is it of yours if I want $6,000 more than I want a stuffed animal?
Who the fuck wouldn't?
Very strange. He was like, to the moon. Hold on to that billionaire bear. You fucking, oh my God. So yeah, he was.
I'm surprised that guy never got capped. Like, honestly surprised, because if I'm an employee of this person and I'm doing all this work while he's like going from toy store to toy store harassing the employees, my first thought is I need to shoot my boss. I need to put a stop to this.
I agree. I mean, Lena Trevetti, who came up with the website idea, came up with the poem idea, like was the reason for their success. She was still making $12 an hour at this point.
God.
At the same amount she was making as a telemarketer. And she asked for $120,000 in salary, and they said no. So she left the company. That was in 1998.
Well, she left right before the beginning of the end. So the bubble really burst. And when it did, it burst quickly and dramatically. By 1999, Ty announced that they were going to retire retire a whole bunch of new Beanie Babies, and none of them saw an uptick in sales. So he was like, uh-oh. Rarity is not working. And then they also introduced 24 new Beanie Babies that same year. By the end of that year and the beginning of 2000, they were being sold. Beanie Babies were sold across the country at dollar stores nationwide. So they quickly went from, this object of obsession to meaningless kind of junk store stuff that no one else was collecting.
They tried like one last publicity stunt. Like fall of 1999.
Really
it was so dumb. Fall of 1999, Ty announced that there would be no more Beanie Babies. He just was like, this is the end. And people, of course, were upset. They were collectors. They had made their business around this. They, threw up their arms. And then he, in 2000, after Y2K, like right after the new year, he announced that there would be, right before 2000, he announced that there would be a vote to save the beanies. So if enough people voted, they would actually continue making
funny.
Beanie Babies.
He's like, Rock the Vote's going pretty well. I don't know. I don't remember if that's happening on MTV yet.
And then in 2000, he announced that Beanie Babies won and they would continue making them. But that move was like so clearly a publicity stunt that even like the big collectors kind of were turned off by it. They felt manipulated. Everybody was like, you know what? Actually, no. I sort of stopped smoking, and I'm not going to pick it back up again because I realized it's gross.
And they ran out of money, some of them, probably.
Well, yeah, they also were in credit card debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, not unlike the housing market. So, okay, and I know that sounded crazy. In my head, I had a full sentence, and I only said only the housing market. So really quick, there's this guy named Charles Kindleberger who kind of coined the phrase like economic bubbles, right? Like, why do bubbles form and why do they burst? And he explains it as a kind of in-group hallucination whereby, I mean, to borrow not from The Economist, but from Marx, also hello, Shug.
Hi, Shug. Fourth mic.
Some commodity that doesn't has some value, but then is like overly valued, right? Because of an obsession that's from this hallucination, leads to crazy investments. So like a big new development that shocks the market. Then there's like euphoria. So that's basically like people getting literal highs from the idea of future wealth or of this object, like kind of symbolizing something bigger than it is. And then the sudden boom. So like all of a sudden this thing that you've been collecting obsessively proves, your hypothesis. You're like, I knew this was a special object. And then right when the bubble does burst, when too many people buy into this object, fetishize this object, a crazy panic starts. So people start selling off their quote unquote shares, let's say, like, and to use that kind of market talk. And so like in Marx's terminology, as I like kind of, you know, not, I know if you're listening to this podcast, you might have heard of Marx before. So we've all heard of commodity fetishism. I call him KM.
Okay, cool.
My heart tag says KM. He describes this as like a relationship of product and an exchange without the social relationship. So it's like you see these objects purely as money, as merchandise. So like money and merchandise become one object, not unlike a house, right? So houses are conceptualized for their resale and purchase value. And that becomes like its value, the fetish, is inherent in any commodity, but becomes kind of exploded in these bubbles, not because of interpersonal relationships or because of interpersonal relationships, but we don't see that. Like because of how I just realized I'm really not good at explaining this. Because of the market and how it's set up, we don't see that the reason that all of a sudden this Beanie Baby is worth $13,000, something ridiculous, is because we've made that happen. And we forget that we live in this is like a human-made fetish. And so that's when it becomes a fetish rather than like a pure commodity or pure value. And
one of the ladies in the documentary says something to that effect. She's like, we had no reason to believe that these things were going to be worth a lot of money, but we just believed it. And then for a time they were.
It's one of the opening lines of the movie. And you're like, yeah.
It's like the first thing someone says. And I'm like, but you had no reason.
Right.
They were little guys. They were your kids' toys and you ruined them.
Rich people buy into this kind of stuff all the time. The difference is that wealthy people, because they already live in an exclusive buyer's market, can keep the quote unquote fetish cost at as high as they want, right? Because other people can't easily buy into it. Whereas things like houses pre-2008 or Beanie Babies pre-1998, Beanie Babies being $5 and the ability to get a house loan being really low led to all kinds of people, average human beings being able to buy in. And then only the wealthy person then can turn that faucet on and off, or there's a sudden realization that the money that you invested is worth less than if you invested it elsewhere. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense. It does in my head. I feel like I'm like geniusing right now. Like, can you guys feel it?
I feel it.
Yeah, it's just like, whoa, did I just like figure out Beanie Babies again? Wow.
Well, I mean, it's not tied to anything other than like people's want and belief in it. It's not tied to a government in any way, which is the reason why like it's the reason why money is made up, but it is not. Like, it's the reason why actual US currency is sort of stable and NFTs are truly fantastical.
Right.
But yeah, that's Beanie Babies.
In case you want to know, that was like a little econ lesson from the LCB bitches. You know, basically, if you're trying to get an A on that test next week in AP
then
Econ,
don't listen to us.
I'd say, yeah, I got it right.
Else.
Right, marks my heart tag says KM, and then like
I just call him Carl when I'm talking about him because we're on a first name basis.
That's hot. Yeah. That's hot.
I'm normal. I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm just a normal person.
We're socialists.
Normal.
Ich bin communist.
I gotta run, guys. I gotta walk the Pekingese. She's fussing.
Me too. But it was
I don't
great
have that
talking to you
because
guys.
my boyfriend took them out. Okay, just a little brax. You guys, I missed you already. I'm glad we solved Beanie Babies. If you're listening and you're not a patron, which you are, become one. Tell your mom to become one, your dad, whoever, your fellow Beanie Baby collectors. Start collecting episodes. They'll never lose their worth.
Absolutely not.
Thanks for
moon,
listening.
baby.
To the moon, baby.
To the moon.
See you in the rich man's universe. Auf Wiedersehen, bitches.
We love you.
Bye.